Previously on the Parker Daniels Show.
Now, recently you lost your sight due to a very tragic accident. Do you mind talking a little bit about that?
Yeah, I don't have a problem. Okay. September the 10th, 2013, I got up like I normally did, start my daily routine, got up, got myself dressed, went to work that morning, doing, everything I was supposed to be doing at work. Things I'd done numerous times throughout the day for the past six months.
Welcome to the Parker Daniels Show, where amazing stories are shared and hope is given.
Since I was about 4 years old, I've hunted. I was an avid hunter. I hunted anything from white-tailed deer, turkeys, rabbits, squirrels. I'd hunt anything you could think of because my grandfather hunted my dad, and that's how I got started. And I hunted all the way up till my accident. Well, once the accident happened, first things you think of is, oh, you can't do this and you can't do that. Well, I thought I'd never be able to hunt again. And in the spring of 2017, me and my daughter went fishing, and we're sitting at one of the local lakes up here where I live. And we're sitting there fishing, just me and her's having good conversation. And she tells me, she said, here comes a game warden. And I was like, okay, if you get his attention, ask him to come over here. So he come over, and me and him got to talking. And turkey season had just finished here in South Carolina. And I told him, I said, man, I bet y'all were busy the last few weeks. And he said, yeah, we were swamped. I said, I'd love to have been sitting in those woods listening, just listening. And he said, well, what's stopping you? And at that time, my sarcasm just about kicked in, and I was like, I held my tongue and I said, well, I'm blind. I said, I can't hunt. I can't see. And he said, well, you can still hunt as long as you've got a sighted person with you. And that just flipped a switch in my brain. And I was like, are you serious? And he said, yes, sir. And we talked for a little bit longer, but all I could think of the whole time, me and him finished talking, and then me and my daughter finished up our fishing. The only thing I could think of was, how can I hunt again? I mean, that was just storming through my mind. And me and my daughter finished up our fishing trip, and we loaded everything up. And at this point, I had already learned how to use JAWS on my laptop. So we got home, and I rushed in the house. I probably shouldn't have done it, but I left her to get everything out of her Jeep, all the fishing equipment. And I just rushed in the house, grabbed my computer, and I just started searching how blind people shoot, how blind people hunt, basically how blind people do anything. And I found this company that makes a mount that you place on the scope of your rifle, and you click a smartphone into it. And the way it's positioned is you turn the camera on the phone, and the camera looks through the scope, and what the scope's looking at is on the screen of the phone. Okay. And I talked to one of my buddies. When I first told him I wanted to try it, he thought I was crazy. He said, I don't know about a blind man going to shoot a gun. And I was like, well, I've been around guns all my life. I know how to handle a gun. I said, let's just give it a try. And he finally said he would, so I got me one of those mounts. And we went to the gun range. And we got there, and he tapped me. He grabbed me by the arm, and he said, now, how are we going to do this? And I had been thinking about it, how I wanted him to get me lined up for a shot. So I told him, I said, I'm going to sit down here at this shooting bench, and I'm going to get in position. And you help me get initially lined up toward the target. And then you start looking at the screen of my phone on this map. And I said, if I need to move to the left, I want you to tap me on my left shoulder. If I need to move to the right, you tap me on the right shoulder. And if I need to raise the barrel, tap me on top of the head. And if I need to lower it, tap me in the middle of the back. He said, okay, I think I can handle that. He said, what do you want me to do when I get you lined up for a shot? I said, you double tap me in the back of the neck and I'm going to pull the trigger. And that's where it all began.
Okay.
Since that time, that mount got to where it wasn't working exactly the way I thought it should. So I found me another system to hunt with. I made my return to the woods as a blind hunter on October 14th, 2017. And since October 14th, 2017, I've been able to kill 6 white-tailed deer and my first ever wild turkey just this past April in Indiana.
Wow. Now, how was that first experience when you killed your first deer after coming back, after you come back from the accident?
I wasn't able to harvest my first deer until December 22nd of 2017. But once the person that was sitting with me told me we had deer in front of us and we moving around trying to get the camera on it, and my heart gets to racing. And he said, well, I got it in the camera. Let's get lined up. So he's helping me get lined up. And then he just said, shoot. This wasn't my normal guy that hunts with me. He wasn't able to go that day. So another good friend of ours took me. And we're sitting there and he said, now. When he said now, I pulled the trigger. And he about tore the box blind. He about tore it down. He got so excited. He was up jumping around and I just got real quiet. And he's jumping around. He said, are you okay, dude? You okay? And I was like, I finally caught my composure enough to say, yes, I'm good. But during that time, it was such an adrenaline rush and an emotional rush at the same time that I couldn't even stand up. My knees were like spaghetti noodles. I was bawling, crying. It was an awesome feeling because I was able to accomplish something that I thought I'd never be able to do again.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. So after that, what did you go? You say you went back plenty of times after that and killed turkey and deer, or
yeah.
This was
after that. After my first deer, I have been able to. I've killed 6 total since 2017, and before I lost my sight, I had turkey hunted before, just never been able to kill one. And this past April, I went to Indiana on a guided turkey hunt through an association called the North American Association of Blind Sportsmen. And I was able to harvest my first ever wild turkey, and I done it as a blind person.
Wow. Now, what? Because I'm gonna play the devil's advocate, because people may say this as well. What do you say to people who say, "Oh, that was his luck," or this and that and the third? What do you have to say to those individuals who really don't believe that it's on a consistent basis as a sighted person would do? What do you tell them?
You talking about the hunting?
Yes.
It's the way I have to hunt is a whole lot harder than someone that is a sighted person, because it takes my friend longer to get me lined up for a shot. So we can't really hunt in like deep woods or somewhere that's got a lot of trees. So we have to mostly hunt food plots and things like that, where we have to do our research and know kind of time frames of when a deer come through the certain areas, and we have to hunt some open areas. So it's a little bit harder for us. And my friend, his name is Terry Corn, he sacrifices his own hunting time to make sure I have a great time.
That's a good thing. And I'm glad you were able to clear that up, because that's still a challenge. I mean, to go on the food farms and try, and even though there's many of turkey and deer and what have you, that's still, you have to still position yourself and get ready. It's not like you can go out and just shoot, so because there are chances that you may miss. So, I mean, I commend you for something like that. So what else are you doing? Because you told me that you have some other things that are lined up that's very important that I would like for you to share with the audience as well.
Yeah, I got, like I said, when I went on this turkey hunting in Indiana in April, I got signed up for, it's called the North American Association of Blind Sportsmen. A gentleman out of the state of Washington named Lance Mathena started this organization. He's also blind. It's created by the blind for the blind. We're just trying to get awareness out there and let even sighted people and other people know that, blind people can do these things. And right at the moment, he lives in the state of Washington. We have a Washington state chapter, a New Mexico state chapter, and a South Carolina state chapter. And I'm the president of the South Carolina state chapter of the North American Association of Blind Sportsmen. So, go ahead.
Okay, so with that being said, I understand that you all getting the word out. What do y'all actually do to try to get the people to understand what y'all do? Y'all hold seminars, things of that nature. What do y'all do?
Well, we're going around and talking to businesses and landowners and fishing guides and seeing, trying to, let them know that there are things that blind people can do and see if they will want to get on board and maybe sponsor a hunt, or a landowner might be willing to offer his land up for a hunt for a couple blind people. Here in South Carolina already, I'm working on some hunts, but I've already got one gentleman who owns a fishing guide service. He's already donated 2 guided fishing trips for next year, where we're going to possibly be able to take 6 blind people fishing 2 different times.
Okay, and that was going to be the next question I was going to ask, in terms of how receptive are these individuals, because some might say, well, I don't know about this and that and the third. So how receptive, as far as on the hunting side, are these individuals to allow for blind people to come and hunt?
And you were right on the not so perceptive deal sometimes, but a lot of people, once we get to talking to them about it, they're like, well, I know so-and-so that's losing their sight. But once you start talking to somebody, it's like they automatically know somebody that's either blind or is losing their sight. And what I do is, once they mention that, I'm like, well, just think how much joy this person would get.
Mm-hmm.
He has an opportunity to get back out there and hunt.
Well, how do you feel now that you're doing something that you love, even though you're visually impaired? I'd say that. How do you feel in terms of actually, by you getting out there, hunting and basically hanging out and doing the things that you were doing before you lost your sight? Because a lot of people would have given up, but you didn't. So how do you really feel? Like, is it still a rush? You excited about it? Tell the people.
One of the things, once I lost my sight, one of the things I had a hard time dealing with, I felt like it took my manhood away from me, because I wasn't going to be able to get up and go to work and support my family the way I used to. I wasn't going to be able to get out and hang out with my buddies. Just all the negative things, But now, it's just like I haven't even lost a step. It slowed me down. I can't do some of the things that some of my buddies do, as far as like walking long distances to get back to the, really good hunting properties, and, or hunting in the deep, thick woods. But I'm just as much a part of the hunting community now as any of them are.
That's true, because sometimes, like you have to, when certain situations come upon you, you have to just make provisions. And even though you can't get down and go out in the woods, you still are able to go on the farms where there are a lot of other, great deal of wildlife and participate in that manner. So, hey, I understand that wholeheartedly. Really, you were saying? Yeah,
I just get out and I enjoy life now. It's all about having a good time. I don't try not to focus on things that I don't think I can do. I try to focus on finding a way to do it that fits my needs.
Say that again, Mike. One more time for the people.
I don't focus on the things I can't do. I focus on trying to find a way to do it the way that will fit my needs.
That's real. That's real talk. And what kind of gun do you use to hunt with?
When I turkey hunt, I shoot a Charles Daly 12-gauge semi-automatic. When I deer hunt, I shoot a Mossberg ATR 100 in a .308 caliber. And actually this evening, our archery season started here on Sunday. I have a PSE Fang crossbow, which I will be hunting with this evening. My daughter's taking me this evening. So I'll be in the woods. I'll get in the woods about 5 o'clock Eastern time this evening, and I will be sitting in that stand till dark.
Okay, now when you go crossbow hunting, is it going to just be you and your daughter, or are you going to have someone with you?
Yeah, it'll be me and my daughter. She's my spotter for tonight.
Oh, okay, man. Bless her heart. Man, I'm glad to have had a chance to hear your story, man. You've even impressed me as a blind person. So, as I mentioned in the top of the interview, I mean, with technology, there's there's nothing that's impossible that a blind person cannot do if they take the time and adjust it to their settings and to their ability and what have you. And you definitely have proven that, Mike. I'm glad to have had you on the show. Man, give the people some words of encouragement that they can use to use in their daily life. If because there may be some who may want to try other things. May not be hunting, maybe other things, and that they don't have the strength that you have to go on. Give them something.
Like I said before, don't focus on the things you can't do. Focus on trying to find a way to do it that will make you feel comfortable. And also don't let your disability define your ability.
Well, we're going to end it just like that. And I'm also bringing you back on it because there's one more thing that I want to talk about, something that you were doing with the marathon, but we're going to keep that under wraps until next time. But tell the people why they should subscribe to the Parker Daniels Show. We're going to close out. And again, thank you for coming on the show. Go ahead.
Y'all subscribe to the Parker Daniels Show. I really believe they're really focused on getting other blind people to share their stories and listen to testimonies. You never know what you can find until you listen to somebody else's testimony.
That's real talk, man. And again, man, thanks. I mean, hey, you have a nice family, man, that's supporting you. And that's what's important, especially going through situations like losing your sight later on in your life and things of nature. And a beautiful wife has stuck by your side, man. You can't ask for nothing else. You have no reason to be upset or disappointed, which you are not, man. And I commend you a great deal for that, man. And with that being said, thanks to the subscribers that I have. For the new viewers, I appreciate you coming in and joining, and returning viewers, thanks again. And continue to subscribe, hit that like button, notification bell, because you're going to get interesting stories such as this. I mean, a lot of people probably think that blind people just can sit, all they do is just sit at home and things of that nature. But no, I'm going to find you some things, some people, to and let you know that, hey, we can do more than just what you think that we are capable of doing. So with that being said, thanks again, and I'm out.
Yes, I am hopeful for today. Take this music and use it. Let it take you away.